and it deeply, deeply impacted me. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Who made the supreme sacrifice in the World War. I don't really want to go into all of the stuff in my past. Let's just say that I had a pretty difficult childhood, and there were some things that happened to me that I've alluded to before where I had to have a lot of therapy for it. Class is so weird. It's time to get up. Oh my goodness. It's so bright. Ellie, come on. You gonna get up, Mama? Go outside. This is where we slept last night. I didn't sleep that well, actually. I don't know why. But it's time to get up. Anthony's about to be here. So we could go for a walk. Oh my goodness, Lily. You ready? Lily, we gotta go. Don't you want to get up and go for a walk? Go for a walk? She's gonna go back into the covers. I guess she's not ready. Where's Baldwin? What are you doing? Good morning, Anthony.
Is it?
It is. It is a very good morning. Like, how can you not have a good morning with that beautiful sunshine over there?
It's not terrible. That's true.
Doing here.
Lily.
I'm just barely waking up. Lily, what's Trevor doing? You can't try to catch up? Pepper, you didn't say hi to me this morning.
Pepper, where's Anne? Where's she?
Pepper.
Where's Anne?
Hi, buddy. Hi. Hey, buddy. I love your collar.
What's your collar?
If you guys don't know what this is, Pepper has a coyote collar around his neck. Also, it helps to keep dogs from attacking him because he's been attacked a couple of times. Poor baby. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful tree. Another live oak. Aw, I love the live oaks. I miss these. They didn't have them, you know, on the West Coast. I was actually surprised coming out to Florida how much vegetation there is.
It's a jungle.
It is.
I mean, this place is 150 years older.
This building?
Yeah.
No way.
It's a historic inn.
I love all like the shaker style shingle. Was that not shingles? What is it? Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, those are shingles.
Yeah, on the side. It's beautiful in the columns. You said you stayed there before?
Yeah, years ago.
So this is the entrance to this beautiful, beautiful park here. September 1585, Don Pedro Mendez de Avilas, founder of St. Augustine, and Adelanto of the Floridians under Philip and of Spain voyaged up this river seeking a waterway to Mexico. Beautiful area. God, look at these gardens. And there's the waterway that they went up.
Do my little decompression for a second.
Sure. Oh, look at this. Come on, don't chase the birds, Lily. You can't chase the birds. Come on. This is in memoriam dedicated to the citizens of Florida who made the supreme sacrifice in the World War 1914 to 1918. Everybody's got to pee on the same spot now.
Where's he? Okay.
Hi, buddy. Hi.
Come on, let's go. You don't need to get. Let's go.
Isabel, hi, sweetheart. Hi. Oh, you gonna say hi to the camera? Yeah.
She's not camera shy.
She was just adopted. Aw, she is. Joanne adopted her just a week ago. She was a depressed pup in the shelter, but she came and adopted her. Now she's happy.
Lily, what's she smelling now? What you got, Mama? What you got?
All right, tuna and salmon, please, for my protein. That looks so good. Got this beautiful poke bowl here. I'm gonna just put some soy sauce on it because I like soy sauce. So yummy. Feels so good out here. It's actually like a ballpark where kids play baseball. We're just gonna sit here and have our sushi. It's just like having sushi, but it's just all in a bowl. I thought it'd be interesting to sit down and tell you a little bit of a story. I actually used to live here in Jacksonville, Florida. It was at a time in my life where I was very young. I was in my early 20s and I moved away from Dallas, Texas very, very quickly. I had a friend's mom who was renting out a house over here in Jacksonville. She was actually renting out the rooms, and so I decided to take him up on his offer to move out there. I literally moved in like a weekend. My sisters helped me to basically get rid of the stuff in my apartment or put it in storage or take it themselves, and then I broke the lease on my apartment and left. But that's how much I wanted to get out of Texas. I don't really want to go into all of the stuff in my past. Let's just say that I had a pretty difficult childhood, and there were some things that happened to me that I've alluded to before where I had to have a lot of therapy for it. And so we'll just leave it at that. I'm almost 50 years old now. I've gone through a lot of it. I've dealt with a lot of the issues, so there's really no need to rehash all of that stuff. Just suffice to say, it was a hard time period in my life, and I had to overcome a lot. There was a lot of good things in my childhood too, but the stuff that happened was traumatic to me and to my childhood brain and my psyche, and so as an adult I had to get through those things, and it took quite a long time, mostly because I also had to recognize that it had actually affected me. So part of my experience was running from my family, running from, not my sisters, but running from my family and leaving Dallas because it was a very hurtful place for me. And it just reminded me of things that I didn't want to remember. I left Dallas and moved to Jacksonville in a weekend. And that to me was like this amazing, amazing freedom. I was like finally free of these pressures and these things that had happened in Dallas. I just felt so good to be on my own, even though I was on my own. I've been on my own since I was 18 years old, but it was like being away in a place that I've never been. And that was my first moment of like exploring and leaving a place that I was familiar with to an unknown place. I'd never been to Jacksonville before. And mind you, this is when the internet was in its infancy, so there wasn't a lot of research that went into this, except when my friend said beach house, rooms for rent, yeah, I'm there. That's really what it boiled down to. And I actually lived with 4 guys. They were like brothers to me there. It was actually a really great time to be there and experience this new city with people who were from there and knew it. This is the first time I've been back to Jacksonville since I lived here, and it's bringing up all of these memories for me and things that were good and bad here, but mostly it was stuff that I was dealing with, like so loud. It's part of being in the city, man. You get all of these noise. Sorry for that, guys. We just roll with it. There was a lot of good here, don't get me wrong. Coming here was not a mistake for me. I was only here for 6 months, mind you. I ended up meeting my to-be husband on the internet, and he was from Dallas, and I moved back to Dallas. Not really the smartest thing in the world. We're divorced after 7 years. That's a whole other story. You go through things in life because of what you're going through in that moment, and sometimes you have to make those mistakes in order to grow. And I made a lot of mistakes, guys. I don't really like to call them mistakes so much as it happened, and it allowed me to grow and mature. So Jacksonville was one of those for me. I'm gonna show you around to a couple of places here in a minute. I'm gonna finish my lunch, but I wanted to just share that story with you, and then we'll continue it when I get back on the road here. Look at this little girl. What do you want? Lily, what are you doing? What are you doing? She wants my food. Like, that's her begging look. She looks up at me. She squints her eyes. You're allergic to fish. You can't have fish. I love the girl. I realized as I was eating that I didn't share too much about the stuff that happened in the past for a lot of reasons. But what I want you to know is that I had to overcome a lot from my childhood. There was a lot of traumatic experiences that shaped me into the person that I am, and I had a lot of years of therapy to recover from it. That didn't come until a long time after I'd lived here in Jacksonville. So I'd lived here in Jacksonville for about 6 months. I moved away back to Dallas, Texas, where I had met my husband We were together for approximately 8 years. Then we moved to the Seattle, Washington area, where we then subsequently divorced about a year later. It wasn't until another 9 years after that I really got the psychological help that I needed to overcome that childhood trauma and really know who I was as an independent woman and what I could actually do in this world and feel secure and confident. I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have that as a young adult either. My friend, whose mom was renting the house out, he actually drove out to Texas to pick me up in his car. I can't remember what kind of a car it was now, but it was just like a sedan with a hatchback. Put as much as we could into my car and his car and took off. Unfortunately, I'd only been here for 2 days and I needed to buy a bed, and he took me to go buy a bed. We were inside of the car driving, going through a green light, and a guy coming the opposite direction ran a red light and T-boned us on the driver's side. I was in the passenger, and we wound up hitting a light pole that looked similar to this one up here. It was really bad. Airbags exploded. It saved our lives, but I ended up in the hospital. My face was a mess. You could not recognize me at all. And it was because the airbag had exploded in my face. But we were very, very lucky to be alive. So that was the first kind of bad thing that happened when I was here. So I ended up having these strangers who I was living with now taking care of me while I was recovering from the car accident on the second day that I got here. So I was so thankful for them for actually doing that. But it was a moment of humility because I had to rely on strangers to help me. It was really, really difficult, and you're in this foreign place and you know nobody here and you don't know your surroundings, and it's very uncomfortable. You're gonna see the place that I worked at. That's where I worked. This place has really changed. So Chili's was my very first job here. I was waiting tables. I wanted zero real responsibility. I wanted to just kind of live it up and be a kid because I wasn't really allowed to be a kid very much when I was a kid. This was my moment to have fun. I worked at Chili's, waited tables, and I had so much fun, and I went to the beach during the day and I partied with my friends here. Yeah, it's kind of weird being back here, I'm not gonna lie. My next job that I got after I decided I needed something that was a little bit more responsible, not really sure why I decided that, I can't remember, is I got a job at Bell South, which is the telephone company here in Jacksonville, doing customer service. And it was just a temp job, and it was, I think I only had that job for like maybe a month or two before I ended up leaving to go back to Dallas. But yeah, good times out here at Chili's. I still love Chili's to this day. It's so weird to see this. It's been 25 years since I lived here. Just not too far from Jack's Beach. Gosh, this is so weird. Oh, yep. I recognize it. It's right here where I lived. Crazy to think of that. I remember that door, everything. There's a big old tree in the backyard too. Yep, this is it. Oh yeah, that big old tree is still there too. Wow. It's so weird to be over here. It's an older neighborhood. Like I said, it was one of those moments for me that spelled freedom. It was my first encounter with freedom, and I suppose run away from where I was at in Dallas, and also to try to find myself in this world. And I don't know if I really did that, but I had fun doing it. I only lived here for 6 months, but boy, it shaped a lot of things that I did in my life. It was my first real time to explore a place that I had never been to and be completely vulnerable in a place full of strangers. And I didn't travel very much around here. I was stone cold broke, guys. I was living paycheck to paycheck and didn't have enough money to drive to the nearest town. It's getting hot again. It's like 82 degrees today, but it hasn't been humid, so that's good. Today was a little bit different, doing a little bit of storytelling about my earlier life here in Jacksonville, and kind of like where things got started a little bit with that whole idea of freedom, you know, that I was seeking so badly, especially in my early years. But the good news is that I came through all of that. I got the help that I needed, and I think I'm well adjusted. My friends and family may say otherwise, but I feel like I am, and I'm living a good life. Hey, I take care of myself. I always have. I've graduated from college. I've done very well in my career. I've bought an RV. I'm traveling around. I have a Nomad mentorship course for you guys. I have my YouTube channel. So I don't know. I think I'm doing pretty good. What do you think? I hope though that maybe sharing a little bit of that story will help somebody out there who has come from a background maybe where, you know, they've had a lot of challenges in their life and they didn't maybe feel like that they could get through them, and how are they going to figure things out. And I just want you to know that there is a path through all of that mess, and you can come out on the other side so much better and happy. It took me some years to get there, but everybody's journey is different. Yours might be faster than mine, it might be slower than mine. It just really depends on what has happened and your therapist and what you're doing to grow as a human being. And that's one of the reasons why I started story chasing, because I wanted to really live my life to its fullest and get out there and create those stories of my life and not let my life pass me by. And I didn't want other people creating those stories for me, if that makes sense. So like, you know, I didn't really want to work for anybody anymore. Those stories are theirs. Their company is theirs. I wanted to get out there and do this on my own and create something that I can be proud of. Something that feels really good to me and that helps people. So that's why I started story chasing too. I feel like that we only have one shot in this world to make something of our life. And if that is the case, why not make the very most of your life and not hide your talent and your skills? I know you have something in you that other people can learn from and grow and be happy from, if only you can get your stuff together and start putting it out there in the world. I'm going to leave you with this quote from Marianne Williamson. It's a poem actually called Our Deepest Fear, and it is something very profound that I heard when I was in my early 20s, and it deeply impacted me. So this is it. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Good night, guys. I love you so much. Thank you for supporting my channel, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Good night.